Peace and blessings. You know, it's a lot going on. We're gonna stick to two themes that, since I came back, first of all. This is brought to you all by the beast. We're still in the sheath of the beast. The beast is still the gatekeeper. That's where my perception is at. But, from paying attention to everything, it's been a long journey of ascension, almost three years. And the thing to this is that if you followed me from the beginning, it was like different stages of different beings I encountered with, a lot. I ain't gonna lie. Like the beginning stage was Anunnaki, reptilian, alienish, the people that give you the invitation to the underworld. Lilith came in the beginning. That was my first, or this African black woman. And as this journey started into the underworld, that's where you met the reptilian, all the different creatures. All of this is, brought to you by your chakra, Kundalini. It's not something unusual, or I'm not talking something that's fable. I'll explain it over, the next videos. You get the whole picture if you don't fully understand yet. So, with this going through these different chakras of myself, or different spheres, it's like you go from the reptilian to being saved by angels. This is when you doing the reptilian, you in the underworld, you could say, but it got more like an Egyptian overtone. Like for me, when I first started, I was more like if I was on the moon, going through the craters of the moon, seeing it just like if it was Google Earth, flying first in darkness. It was like I first was seeing my mandala. It's just like it looked like a mosaic tile, nice design, and I couldn't figure it out for a while. But over it, it's like it's waving like a pool. It's just like a wave, a pattern, a rhythm. And I try to turn it, twist it, move it like a Rubik's Cube. I couldn't figure it out with my mind for anything. For maybe like 3 days. Then all of a sudden one day, everything just changed. It was like I even tried swimming down it. You could keep going down, like it was a bottomless pool, but the pool wasn't so deep. But you can't get to the bottom. But eventually a little orb light came and started blinking in there. And from there it started changing. That now scene turned into the a black silhouette of the trees. It's like looking at the night scene with nice navy blue sky, dark blue, and the trees is black, and from there it started this journey for me. And it was kind of a weird journey because that's when I started flying over, like, first in space, which wasn't so bad. It didn't feel so bad at all. But it was when you see there's someplace else, another dimension, planets at that time. I'm going off of my conscious mind and what I was taught in this world and using it as my definition to define my experience. Looked like I was going to the moon. So when you appear over it, it's just like, a circle, and it was beige in color. But as I got closer, it was like, it was people for a quick second, but it vanished. It was like everything was inside the earth, or inside that place. It wasn't built on top like buildings or cities like we have. But so we went into a cave. And as you go into the cave now, you see hieroglyphs and writings that is so much detail that it was like all the whole cavern, all the walls, everywhere. And these places is huge, maybe like around, I would say 18 to 15 feet tall and width, but they narrow. You know what I'm saying? They kind of narrowed. I mean in height, not width. And width, they was very narrow. Maybe I would say about 2 to 3 person in width, standing next to each other. But anyways, you travel these places, and it was like you come across fear factor. You see all type of crazy beings in there. I started having encounters with a lot of queens and Egyptian type experiences, and a lot of twin flames and soulmates pop up, and you get set in Christ, and all that stuff comes into play. You go through the weighing of the heart, the underworld. That's where it started for me. And it was as much sexual at first. I don't know if it was the B side of me, but no, I can't say that. Let me be honest. You know, it's deep because it's like for you to enter your magnetic field or to enter the Tuat, you have to have a certain amount of energy to produce that field. And so that energy is only produced sexually. So to induce it, that's why you always see people like Ptah, or you know, the symbols of the men with his penis erected in the pictures, or you know, those is what it symbolizes. Like that is the energy you need for your astral world to be bright. So a lot of medieval people and a lot of people who does witchcraft, they use the sexual energy and they did sexual magic. So it has a real effect to it, but it's not like, you know, to be used on prey on some other people, but in actually seeing the astral world, it was actually the beginning part was sexual because of that, because I couldn't project myself. I couldn't pull up the screen. I couldn't see it. Inside myself was too dark. So by just being aroused or excited, it made it bright inside. It wasn't about, you know, coming or all this other stuff. You know, you wouldn't know that at first. You would think it's an experience, you're getting raped, all this other stuff. But it's just the arousal of Kundalini that actually make all these experiences more highlighted. The difference between you just seeing it as two shades, all of a sudden you got 16 different shades of darkness. So, you know, everything has a real effect and real meaning. Now, when I started in there, the end result, no, it's just a journey. It's the real journey of the whole biblical tale, From when it started, as a matter of fact, it didn't start at first. The first thing is fear. You're in a place of fear because you're seeing reptilians and lizards and dragons, and it's not really like how you think. It's weird because you think I'm talking in a lucid dream or maybe with your eyes closed under meditation. No, for me it was like you were seeing it through your floor, through your walls, through your sheets. Whatever you looked at, it was like an underlayer, like if you could look through the mirror and see the other side. And they was just there intimidating. So fear factor came in. And angels was the next level. That's somehow a little boy came and took me to heaven, and I saw the heavenly kingdom. All this stuff is real. I don't know nothing about this stuff, man. And it was through these damn clouds. And it's in the biblical books, though. That's why I resonated with it. So I was like, wow, this is weird. But now, all these experiences, it was purification, different dimensions of myself. So after that little visit to the heavenly kingdom that I speak about in mad other videos, you can check into it to see. And it's like I only got to see it. I didn't get to go in it. I was overhead flying, like looking down, like wow, this is incredible. It's like the fantasy world. But anyways, later on, it was like I flew over it and was dropped back down into the mess I was in, the underworld, where my fears and everything, my desires was attacking me like crazy. But eventually, through the twin flame, I was able to make peace and ascended as a king-queen and defeated Samael and Lilith and became like the new Samael and Lilith. But you leave all that sheath down there. That's just a side of you that reside down there, give you like a biblical connection. You know, everybody's faced with that. That's the man on the throne. You see the king is in the throne, which is symbolized by your pituitary gland, the battle with your pituitary gland for control over your cells. You know, your pituitary gland control your receptors in your body, your cell receptors. So once you control your pituitary gland, you control the actual flaps. You got your cells got two positions. Like it's not off and on, but it's like you got your any cells or that come together, they interlock like in 4 parts. And so with positive outside and then inside of the cell is negative. You have electrons that attack to us, or in our case as human beings, is proteins. And these proteins now, when they lock on to the cell, it actually now turns it off or turn it on. But it's just motion. It puts it in motion. And the reason why this information is important about the motion of the flap and you battling with the man on the throne, which is your pituitary gland, is because you don't have no perception. That's why I was in the underworld. I was ignorant. And it's the controller of perception, because your cells now, they're locked. It's like a flap on a waterproof boat or submarine, that when you submerge in the water, the flaps close. So when you're underwater, you have no consciousness, you have no perception, the flaps have to be open. And when they open, they only swing open for a limited amount of time. And once you get into understanding that that's the first battle, and for you to get to heaven, which is now the pineal gland, you know, and all this is start off with your pituitary gland. Did I say it right? No, damn, I can't remember the second. Give me a second. You know, when you try too much, that's when you mess up. So I'm not gonna try. But anyways, you know, once you, because what I'm trying to say is the first level that gets you into the underworld is your curiosity. It's everything that you're doing, which is brought to you by your that word that I can't remember right now, but it'll come to me. So anyway, those two together is gonna open the first gateway, which is gonna open the second gateway where you're battling the man on the throne, which would be your God, which would be your cells. Your cells is about, you got not just one cell, but you got one cell that is actually a human being. It's a being. It breathes, it shits, it got a body, it got a endocrinology system, it got a nervous system, it got a immune system. You know, that's why cells die, they regenerate. So, you know, you got not just one cell that is just a cell, it actually produces voltage and current. So it spins, it rotates, because it's always in an alternating current vibe, with the current and electrical force that comes out of it is 1.4 volts, equivalent to one AA battery. That's how much one in your cell is. And you got about 50,000 cells, 50 trillion cells all over your body. Think about it. If you got 50 trillion times 1.4 is current, this is how much electricity is flowing through your body. You got about 100 trillion volts of electricity just in your body. That's what runs a human body. 70 100 trillion volts. Yeah. So with that in mind now, these flaps that's being controlled that we don't realize is the whole cause of how you activate your DNA. Your DNA has to be activated. And the way you're gonna go about doing it, like we were saying with light, is environment. Environment is the key. Now, we was doing the induced version of it when I was talking to you yesterday with the sun. You know, that's the right way to go about activating yourself. Excuse me. Activating doesn't mean turning on and off switches. It just means to allow the protein itself to flow. Once you start staring, you're actually allowing the flaps to open for perception to come in. Once perception come in, your